up, fellow YouTubers? So last night, I went to Frosty's Bar and Grill to have a pitcher or two. I drank 2 pitchers of Black Tooth. And the cocktail waitress slash bartender was super awesome at Frosty's. I've never had a bad experience when going to Frosty's, so I'll go there again when I can afford it. But I went there because me and Alex would go there sometimes, and we'd grab a pitcher of beer. You know, he'd have like a couple bucks, I'd have a couple bucks. We'd throw in on it. You know what I'm saying? And I found out that one of the girls I like here in town is getting engaged, and I'm very happy for her. And I hope that her marriage lasts long and they're happy together. Only know you love her when you let her go. No, but me and Alex were regulars at Frosty's, and one of the bartenders, it was her night off, and when she found out, she was pretty upset. And nothing you can do about it, man. That's life, you know. But I think to myself, YouTube, if Alex would have had easy access to medical marijuana, he would not have died. And Alex isn't the only person. There's a ton of people in Wyoming and all over the world who have died because they didn't have access to life-saving medical marijuana. And I've witnessed it firsthand. Trust and believe, I have witnessed it firsthand. Alex is starting to convulse. Right as Alex starts to convulse, he takes a hit of weed, and then the convulsions stop instantly. And here's the fucked all thing of it. He tried to get Social Security so he could get a place of his own and get his own food. Because he can't legally work because of his epilepsy. So how is he supposed to get a house? And they wouldn't give it to him. Even though, and I am not bullshitting you when I said, his seizures were life-threatening. And it don't take long. Casper's a small-ass town, man, I tell you what. So if you have a friend, you know, you really truly do not know how long you have with the person that you care about. Whether it's a friend, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, whatever, you know. You truly do not know how long you have with somebody. So try to make the best of it. Whether it's family, friends, romantic relationships, if you're having a disagreement or a little spat, you know, do you really want the last thing you said to that person? Fuck you, I hate your guts. So, like, if you're fighting with your brother, you're fighting with your sister, whatever the case may be, you know, I guarantee you, you're going to feel like a piece of shit when that person dies. Because the last words you said to them were hurtful and mean and done out of anger. And all you can do is hope, YouTube, all you can do is hope that that person forgives you. Last time I saw Alex, I was hanging out with him and Marshall, and we got done drinking a couple of 40s and smoking some cigarettes, and it was late, so he's like, alright, get home safe, man. Thanks for hanging out. I'm like, yeah, man, thanks for letting me hang out. Knuckle bump, and then I walked home. So at least, you know, that's comforting for me to know that my last words weren't done in anger or anything. It was just, you know, hey, you know, like, all right, man, catch you later. That's what I said. 2019's been a pretty rough year so far. You know, I lost my great grandmother. The girl I wanted to ask out got scared away by these asshole trolls. And one of my friends died due to his epilepsy. But that's life, dude. That's life. Ain't a damn thing you can do about it. You can sit there and bitch and complain, sit there and say, that's not fair. But I guarantee you, someone out there, somewhere out there, there's a situation that's way more unfair than what you're going through. I can guarantee you that. You think, oh, well, what you're going through is unfair. You think what you're struggling with is unfair. Wah. I guarantee you that there's a situation out there that's going to be 10 times more unfair than what you're going through. So, I don't know. I'll admit it, some female companionship would be nice, but if that's the worst I'm going through, then I really can't be complaining too much. Yeah. And you can't blame people for saying no when they have good reason for saying it. You know, and this is the thing of it. Yes, any potential girl that wants to go out with me or that I want to go out with, she may get harassed by trolls. But the silver lining is she'll have an awesome boyfriend and she'll have, you know, a legion of people that worship the ground she walks on like she's royalty. That's if she chooses to be on YouTube with me, which is something I've never forced my girlfriends to do, because I acknowledge that I'll be the first person to say it. My trolls are assholes. They never quit. Neither do I. I mean, as much as I'd like to die, the only reason I stay alive is because I got too many people that care about me. And it doesn't matter how depressed I get. It's not worth putting them through that shit. If you have one person that cares about you, just one, it's not worth it. Even if you don't have anybody in your life, it's still not worth it, dude. Because you can always make friends. You want to commit suicide, do it the legal way. Smoke cigarettes and drink alcohol. Because at least you're getting some enjoyment out of it. As it sits right now, YouTube, with the way this so-called war on pot works, you could literally rape a child or rape a woman and get less prison time than somebody convicted of a pot possession. There are some states in this country where, in the good old US of A, you get caught with 1 gram of pot and you're facing up to 15 years in prison and like 3 to 4 months probation, or 3 to 4 years probation after that. All this, YouTube, all this over a plant that cures cancer, glaucoma, and a bunch of other things. So and Alex is not the only person that would have benefited from medical marijuana being legal in Wyoming. Here in Wyoming alone, there's been several people that have died because they couldn't get access to medical marijuana. And you want to talk about disgusting? Casper has a real bad meth problem. It's everywhere, man. It's just Ugh, dude. Like, I can't even begin to tell you. Like, I cannot begin to tell you how bad the meth problem is in Casper. And it makes me sick to my fucking stomach. Watching these losers walk around town, twacked out of their fucking minds. Then you combine the meth problem with the oil drying out when it dries out. Holy shit. The meth problem's bad enough on its own, but when the oil dries out in this state, we start relying on things like coal and salt to fuel the state's economy, which it works, but to a degree, you know. So then you get these people who are laid off of their job because the oil dries out. People leave states because there's no money in it. The economy goes to shit, and so what do people do to look for entertainment? They start smoking meth. Yeah, real fucking smart, right? It kind of fucking feeds into itself, and it pisses me off. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. This fucking country has a heroin epidemic. People are overdosing off of heroin left and right. This country's economy sucks more dick than a hooker at a truck stop. We spent trillions upon trillions of dollars on unnecessary wars, fighting over oil. Fucking economy's crashing, fucking banks giving out money they can't afford to give out. Our economy fucking sucks. The government loves money. There's a heroin epidemic in our country. There's a meth problem in Wyoming. And to me, the solution just seems simple. You legalize medical marijuana for recreational and medical use, and let the states choose whether or not 18 or 21. Personally, the way I see it, if you're old enough to die for your country, you're old enough to vote, you should be old enough to smoke a little bit of pot. Which, here's another disgusting fact about the war on pot. Veterans who come back from war with PTSD, they try smoking pot for their PTSD, and they get thrown in prison for it because it's a federal offense. Our own veterans can't even smoke pot for their PTSD. That's bullshit. It's like, okay, you have a problem with our soldiers smoking pot to help with their PTSD. Alright, well, let's strap an AR-15 to your back and send you into the terrorist-infested desert to fight for your country. Try not to lose a leg and an arm from an exploding mine. People screaming, gunshots going off everywhere. Oh look, that child has a bomb strapped to their back, and if you don't shoot them, your whole platoon's gonna get blown up. And you have kids at home, so that's really gonna fuck with you. Can't imagine why soldiers get PTSD from fighting in wars. And how disgusting has our society become, YouTube? How disgusting has our society become when people are sending children to fight a grown-up's battle? That's not how kids should be living. Kids should be allowed to color outside the lines, play, make friends, and have an active imagination and enjoy life. Kids should be allowed to enjoy being kids. The fact that there are some kids in other parts of the world that are forced to fight in war is disgusting. I mean, people want to bitch in a Western society because parents put way too much pressure on their kids. Like, oh, we got to enroll them in preschool. Oh, geez, if we don't, then how's their college application gonna look? But it could be worse. Society puts way too much pressure on parents, and parents put way too much pressure on their kids. It's a vicious cycle and it needs to fucking stop. Like, we've all been there. You go to the grocery store to pick up something. Maybe you go into Walmart to pick up some clothes, some shoes, maybe some groceries, or maybe some leather for your wands. It don't matter. And freaking some mother goes in there and she's got like 3 kids. One of them's in the cart and the other 2 are running around screaming and hollering, getting into shit, making a scene. And people stop and stare. And it's like, okay, if you're a parent, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When your kid's acting up in the store or acting up in a restaurant, the last thing you want is for rude motherfuckers to stare at you like it's a goddamn picture show. Let's grab some popcorn. This is going to be great. You want some extra butter on your popcorn? Tickets are on sale now. In a world of overly stressed parents and hyper kids. Like, okay, if they're not making an effort to deal with it, they're just on their phone doing this. Okay, that's justifiable cause to stare and say something, but if the parent is trying to get a hold of the situation, then mind your own fucking business. Like, the kids are abused, they're well fed, they have a roof over their head, the bills are paid, they're taken care of. Mind your own fucking business. Like, Jesus Christ, I'm not even a parent, and that shit pisses me off. Like, I'm not a parent, I don't have any kids, and that shit pisses me off. Because I've had to babysit my baby sisters, and I've experienced similar issues. Like, they would act out or whatever when I try to get them to behave. People would come up and tell me how to raise my little sisters or how to watch them. I'm like, excuse me, but I'm right here. I've been put in charge of babysitting her, so mind your own business. Who the fuck does that? Just comes up to random strangers walk up to you and tell you how to raise your kid. Excuse the fuck out of you. So, is that a boy or a girl? That's a girl. Why? Well, those jeans look a little too baggy for her. She doesn't dress feminine enough. Excuse me? But, fuck you. Oh, is that a boy or a girl? That's a boy. Why is he wearing a pink shirt? Is he gay? No, he's not even old enough to date. What the fuck is wrong with you? Well, that's not very masculine. Excuse the fuck out of you, but how is it any of your concern? And that's only the tip of the fucking iceberg in the bullshit in our society. It goes much deeper than that with everything. And sometimes, I'll admit it, life can be overwhelming. I'll be the first to say it. It doesn't matter if you're struggling or if you're not struggling. There's times that life can be overwhelming for a lot of us. It just hits us in a moment where we're like, ugh. But the important thing is, and I know it's difficult and sometimes easier said than done, but it's important not to let life overwhelm you and to enjoy being a kid while you still can. I find that people who enjoy being kids when they're kids are more well-adjusted when they're adults. That's a given fact. That's just psychology 101, man. And furthermore, when it comes to double standards, yeah, sometimes women have it harder than men, but big whoop. You know, being a person sucks. You're sitting there, if a man comes up with one double standard that's unfair to women, women can sit there and come up with like four double standards to that one. And I guarantee you that when women are faced with double standards, it affects men too, because it makes men look bad. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. If we're living in this so-called PC culture, the Me Too movement bullshit, everyone's a fucking snowflake. Everyone has pronouns. You didn't call them a Charmander unicorn. Now they're pissed off and they're taking to Twitter, some Twitter storm, fucking PC culture soldier, telling it the whole world how oppressed they are because someone called him a dude or a chick, and that's not how they identify. They identify as a Charmander unicorn, and you just offended them. You just verbally assaulted them by calling them something else. It's enough to make you want to take a couple ibuprofen and say, really? It's enough to make you want to drink heavily because that's how stupid it is. It's enough to make you want to start chain smoking 2 packs a day because that's how fucking annoying it is. Because to me, giving myself lung cancer makes a lot more sense than fucking half the idiots that think just because they got a fucking social media page, they can just say whatever the fuck they want. I'm all for freedom of expression, but there's a line. There's a fucking line that people shouldn't cross. It doesn't matter if women have it harder than men or if men have it harder than women. The simple fact of the matter is sexist double standards affect both women and men. Period. I mean, how do you think I feel knowing that the negative stereotype about men is all we want is sex and that we're all just rape apologist pigs? How do you think that makes me feel as a man? It hurts, dude. Knowing that that's the negative stereotype. That's the negative stereotype that surrounds my sex. In fact, it makes me feel guilty that I acknowledge that I'm lonely. And I shouldn't feel guilty about wanting a girlfriend. That's natural. But because of this culture we live in, where all these negative stereotypes are placed amongst the genders, and where the negative stereotype against men is all you want is sex, that makes me feel bad about wanting a girlfriend. Like, it's easier when you have a girlfriend, yes, but when you're single in today's society, they put all this fucking pressure on you to have a girlfriend and to be successful, and when you're not, you're considered a loser. And then if you acknowledge that you want a girlfriend, on top of that, you get told, suck it up, buttercup, all you men want is sex. And it's like, really, how contradicting is that? You put all this pressure on men to have sex and have girlfriends, and then you call them a pig as soon as they acknowledge they want one. Really? Ow! Why? It makes my fucking head hurt. Like, and women want to sit there and say, well, Well, if we fuck one dude, we get called a slut. I'm like, yeah, that's just as bad as far as I'm concerned. That's just as bad as far as I'm concerned. Now think about it. If men are expected to constantly be getting laid, all they want is sex, and as soon as a chick fucks one dude, she's called a slut. These negative stereotypes, they play against each other and they work with each other. It creates this bullshit on the dating scene to where now you got people just using people for sex and money. There is no real connection anymore. For women these days, it's all about status. He's got car, he's got a muscles, he does stuff. Oh, cool. Women are no longer dating for the sake of finding somebody. They're dating just because they want to have status, because that's what our society has come to anymore when it comes to dating. Dating is treated like it's a status, like you have to have it, and it's bullshit. It's never, oh, I'm dating this person because we like each other and we're a great couple and we click, we understand each other, we finish each other's sentences, that kind of shit, you know. It's never about that anymore. It's all about, oh, who's got the biggest dick, who's got the biggest boobs, who's got the fastest car, who's got the most money. And it's disgusting because just because someone doesn't have big boobs, just because someone doesn't have a big dick, just because someone doesn't have a lot of money, doesn't mean they don't have value on the dating scene. And that's something you have to keep in mind. You might see someone who's got all those things going for them. Doesn't necessarily mean they're happy. They could be just as miserable as you for all you know. You'll constantly see women slut-shaming other women because they have bigger boobs, and it's stupid. But then turn around and call a man a pig because he won't date a chick because she's fat, and give this whole fucking speech about how every woman's created beautifully. What? How are you going to sit there and say every woman's created beautifully, then turn around and slut-shame your fellow woman? That doesn't make any sense. You call me an asshole for saying it like it is, but that's the truth. You can't sit there and say, oh, every woman's created beautifully, and then slut-shame some poor chick on Instagram because she's doing a makeup tutorial. I mean, really? And your argument for that is, she's creating a negative stereotype for women. That all women have to wear makeup to be pretty. No, the fuck she's not. And if people think that, they're fucking stupid. You know, maybe her wearing makeup is her way of expressing female empowerment. You know what I'm saying? This is something I've said multiple times on my channel in the last couple of videos. Female empowerment is different for every female. Not every female is empowered by the same thing. Some women get empowered by wearing makeup. Some women get empowered by not wearing makeup. Who are you to fucking judge? And if you want to be a true feminist, you can't slut-shame some poor chick on Instagram and then stick up for the ugly fat chick when no guy wants to date her. That's not fair. And to be quite honest, she'll find somebody too. You think just because she's ugly and fat, she won't find somebody? Huh, that's funny. That is fucking hilarious. I don't want to hear any excuses. Women have a much easier time on the dating scene because they have a pussy. You want to call me a pig for saying it, but it's the fucking truth. And men, we're like fucking toy dogs wanting a biscuit. We'll do anything for the promise of a little bit of sugar wall. Anything. Jump higher. That's why you never see chicks buying dudes drinks. You always see dudes buying chicks drinks. Think about it. Think about it. This is why women are gangster, or the more gangster out of the two genders, because, you know, they got one more thing to hustle with if they have to. I'm just saying. Yeah. Started off the video like, hey, gonna take the city bus up to Walfart and get a couple of wand supplies and then travel back to my apartment so I can finish the last 4 wands in my batch. As far as I'm concerned, if you don't want to date me because my YouTube trolls are assholes, that's your loss, not mine. I have a legion of fangirls that would sell their soul to Satan just to sit next to me. So... like, I can't tell you how many times I've talked to chicks on social media and they just totally fangirl the fuck out. Like, oh my god, I'm talking with Gothic King Cobra, holy shit. And to me that's kind of a surreal feeling because I'm like, even though I have 8,000 subscribers, to me it doesn't feel like I'm a famous YouTuber. I've always been very humble about my success on social media. Or my influence, if you will. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say any girl would be lucky to have me. That's overstating it a bit. That's too much confidence. That's the problem with our society, though. To be brutally honest, YouTube. You have too much confidence, people think you're vain and narcissistic. You don't have enough confidence, people think, oh, you're quiet and reserved. You can't fucking win. Yeah, I'm saving this for later. I'm fucking done with this video. I've said my rant. I've said my piece. And like I said, it doesn't matter how many negative stereotypes that women have to deal with. They're always going to affect men as well. So even if women have more sexist double standards than men, it still affects men in some way, shape, or form. Being that it makes men look like assholes, and then the vicious cycle continues itself. And that same logic also applies to men's double standards. When men are sitting there and being told all you men want is sex, it makes women entitled to dick. And then women start using our bodies for sex and then turn around and get pissed off when men do the same thing to them. It's like, it's like hypocrisy much. Oh. But this is the problem with our society, this Tinder dating app culture we live in. People are no longer using social media to make real connections. They're just using social media to treat people like disposable pieces of trash. People are no longer using online dating to make real connections. People no longer use online dating to make real connections. They're just using it to get a one night stand, a free meal, or maybe some help on their student loans. And that's just disgusting. If you're going to use online dating to find a girlfriend or a boyfriend, then do that. Be honest. Something a lot of people would appreciate on the dating scene, especially when it comes to online dating, is honesty. You're sitting there with your dating profile and you take a picture that you took 4 years ago. You take a picture that you took 4 years ago, and you post it as your dating profile pic. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, sure, you might get a couple of assholes that'll say, no, I won't date you because of X, Y, and Z. But fuck them. It's just like fishing. You're not going to catch a bite the first time you throw it in the water. Sometimes you got to sit there and be patient and wait for the right fish to bite. You know what I'm saying? Oh, other fish in the sea, right? I get so tired of hearing that expression. Other fish in the sea. That's hilarious. And if you're a single dad and you can't make it work with your baby mama, then for the sake of the kid, try to give the kid at least a happy household in two different households. It's never good for a kid to live in a household where parents are fighting. So if you can't make it work with your baby mama and you get a divorce, it's better to be good friends and giving your kid a loving household in two different houses versus them being under one roof with you two fighting all the time. But if you can make it work, cool, man. This is something that, a lot of people will agree with. Having a kid doesn't come with an instructional booklet. It's not like building a Lego project, step 1 through 18, So, reestablishing a healthy relationship with your baby mama, the first thing you have to realize is that you two created something wonderful in this world. You gave birth and created a child together, and that's more precious than anything on this planet. That's more precious than any amount of diamonds, gold, or silver. You know what I'm saying? Money cannot buy that kind of innocence. And that being said, if you learn to reestablish your relationship based off of that one factor that you two have in common, it can work out. But it's a group effort. And here's the thing of it. Having a stepmom or a stepdad can be difficult for kids. It's just one of those things we have to encounter in life. But if you're lucky enough to get an awesome step-parent, give them a chance. I speak from experience. No, my biological mother is about as psychotic as they come, and to quote my dad, he divorced my mom because she was mentally unfit and too mentally unfit to raise children, so he did it for my safety. And, I gave my stepmom a chance, and it's been a wonderful relationship. She's more like a mom to me than my real mom is, so That's something to keep in mind. And that's another thing too. I think a lot of step parents are going to have trouble with is trying to connect with your other half's kid. You know, that's always going to be a challenge at first. You might meet a little bit of resistance, but sometimes things in life just take time. Sometimes YouTube, things in life just take time. And if you're dating just for the sake of status, just for the sake of saying you have somebody, then you're dating for the wrong reasons. If you're dating just so you can say you have somebody, just because it's a status, all your friends have someone, so you feel like you have to have someone too, you're dating for the wrong reasons. Now, if you want to be a true feminist, you have to support your fellow woman. You can't just support the girl that you're sticking up for because she's getting rejected. You also have to support that chick you hate because she looks prettier than you. And that's just the cold hard truth of it. You can't call yourself a feminist if you slut shame the girls that are prettier than you and then stick up for the girls that aren't. That just, no. That makes you just as shallow as those hot chicks that put makeup on. And you'll justify it by saying, well, I know how it feels, and that's why I'm sticking up for her. Right, that's part of it. That's part of it. You also get to feel like that hot chick that you envy on Instagram, so that's the other half of it. And what is it with women always comparing themselves to each other? That's another thing. Like, I'm sick of that. Women are constantly comparing themselves to men and other women, and I'm sick of it. Anyways, YouTube's video is like 44 minutes long. That's a bit long for a rant, but it needed to be said. Hopefully this helps a couple females become woke. Hopefully this helps a couple of males understand some things, you know. My goal with these videos, like this one in particular, is to help men and women understand each other and relate to each other just a little bit better. And the biggest thing I want from these videos is gender equality. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later.